Welcome. I'm Evan Sherrill. This
I'm-
is Cruz Ochoa, and this is James Baldino, and we're here to talk about Pac-12 football. I'll go first. I think that the team that's going to win the North is Washington. They're very young, and they even though they don't have much experience, they have a really good defense. I watched them last year. They have really good cornerbacks. They got all the interceptions, and they can force pressure. And the people I picked to win the South are USC, even though they're switching quarterbacks because Cody Kessler got drafted in the 2016 draft. I think their offensive line is really strong, and they have some really good wide receivers and defensive players that stayed. Yeah, and that's it. So, Cruz, your picks?
For the North, I think Stanford's gonna win it. Even though they lost most of their good players last year because they were seniors, they got a new quarterback and he's pretty good, and their defense is good too. And for the South, I have UCLA winning it because their defense is good. Their offense needs some work, but their quarterback can throw, but he needs some work, but he could still make passes and not be that accurate. Take it away, James.
Yeah, he's a strong arm.
My predictions for the North Division are probably Oregon because depending on because last year's stats, they had the best away record in the North Conference, and that can be very crucial to have when you're a football team at this level. In the South Division, I think Utah is going to do it because last year they had the most wins, actually, even though they didn't win the division. I think UCLA maybe has a chance, but I don't think they'll be able to beat Oregon or Utah because I just don't think they could stand up to those really good teams. Back to you.
Okay, and I think that's all. I think that's all the time we have. We'll see you later.
What's your name? You say
I'm Evan Sherrill,
I'm Cruz Ochoa.
And I'm James Baldino.
saying good night.
Peace out.
Hey everybody, it's Sol here with the latest issue of the DS show. And here's Dooley. We're gonna be talking about the Pac-12. I don't know. You're first. UCLA is a football team with a great quarterback in Josh Rosen, who decided to come back, but they lost Rusher Miles Jack to the draft, which is huge for UCLA. They also lost one of their offensive linemen in the draft. Their biggest weakness right now is the offensive line, and I think they're going to need to improve a lot there. I have to agree with you, Julie. I actually think you're right about that point. Okay. So I'm gonna. Well, I think that the Washington Huskies are really. Well, they're a good team with. They're an underdog team with quite a few freshmen, and they're just seeing where they fit in. And so I actually think they've got a pretty good chance this year. In Oregon, last year they blew a 31-0 lead in the Alamo Bowl to lose to TCU in triple overtime. Yeah, that was crazy. Right? Yep, that was crazy. This and their starting quarterback, Vernon Adams Jr., got injured. This year, they've brought in another different quarterback named Dakota Prokop. I've not heard of him yet. Yeah, he's supposed to be pretty good. Do you think he's as good as the previous quarterback? I don't think so. I went to the Ducks spring training scrimmage earlier in the year, and they looked pretty good, but not as good as last year. Yeah, it's kind of a shame that the quarterback got hurt. Yep, in the last game of the season. Well, of time, so that's it. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
I'm So Kim,
Listening.
and
I'm Dooley Kim.
signing off.
Hi, welcome to the UCLA Sports Network. I'm Braden Goldsmith, joined by Chaz Lutz and Ben Walker. Let's go ahead and kick it off to our first topic today. Returning and new players for UCLA. What do you have for us, Ben?
Well, the returning quarterback, Josh Rosen, had a phenomenal season last year in his rookie season. He threw 35 touchdowns and almost had 3,700 yards. It seemed difficult for him, stepping into that big role and that huge spotlight as QB and leader of the Bruins. But, I think he handled it quite well. How about you, Jess?
I like Ishmael Adams, the returning defensive back and receiver. What I like about him is he's really flexible, and he can play defensive back or receiver. And last year he played defensive back and had 2 picks, 1 touchdown, and 35 tackles. So I think the coach will really like him. So if a wide receiver gets hurt, he can fill in those shoes.
Yeah, absolutely. You, Braden?
Well, I have Connor McDermott, the returning offensive lineman for UCLA. I think he'll make a great addition to this team. He's 6'9", 310 pounds, a big kid. I think he helped a lot because there was a bunch of injuries. And he said, quote, "It mostly was an offensive line having more experience together and being veterans rather than being really young. He definitely helped Rosen. Best OL on UCLA, in my opinion."
Absolutely.
So let's go ahead and get to our next topic.
The upcoming schedule will be huge for UCLA. So it starts a little rough. In their first 9 games, they play A&M, Utah, Stanford, and USC, both really good football teams. And they also and I'm gonna look at the Stanford game because I think they're gonna lose this one because I feel that Christian McCaffrey, the running back for the Cardinals, will blow through the defense and the linemen because the Bruins lost their huge linebacker, Miles Jack. You, Chaz?
Well, I think the game against A&M will be really tough in their first game of the season because it's at A&M, and A&M still has one of the best defensive ends in the country in Myles Garrett. And I think that the 12th man will be roaring in the first game of the season, and it will be too much to overcome for UCLA. But I think that A&M will get this one, but only by a 7-point spread.
Yeah, absolutely. You, Braden?
Well, I think they'll have a tough game against Utah because they have wide receiver Tyler Cooperwood, senior. He's 6'1", 235 pounds, while Brandon Cox, the quarterback, is 6'2", 205 pounds, so a loss to Utah as well. Let's go ahead and get to predictions.
I have them at 7-5 because their first 4 games are they have 4 games that are very tough in A&M, USC, and like a bunch of other teams. So I think they'll be 7-5. Not a terrible season, but not a great season.
Yeah, I agree with you that one. The 4 teams, A&M, Utah, Stanford, and USC, really hard to get. And they also have a road streak, so that can definitely bring in the fatigue factor, which can lessen the record. So I have them at 6-6. You, Braden?
Yeah.
I have them at 8-4 with losses to Texas A&M, Stanford, USC, and Utah. Just all of the teams that are big and will most likely be in the top 25 because they're just overall the better team. And so let's go ahead and get to Chaz.
So some of the players that left were, as we mentioned before, Miles Jack, and another one was Kenny Clark. That will be huge shoes to fill because Miles Jack was one of the best linebackers in the league, and they were both first-round picks. So those are going to be huge shoes to fill, but I think they can handle that good.
Yeah.
Well, that should just about do it here on the UCLA Sports Network. I'm Braden with Chaz and Ben. See you tomorrow.
Hello, my name is Solomon Koliako with my partners, Eddie Hawley and John Souza, and we are here at the beautiful UCLA campus in sunny Southern California to talk about the Pac-12 Conference college football. Okay, we're going to start right away. I'm going to go straight to Eddie, and let's talk about Josh Rosen, the UCLA quarterback. What do you think of him? Is he going to go into a sophomore slump, or is he going to be a sophomore sensation? What do you think?
Well, first let me say this. Last year he had over 3,000 passing yards. He had 23 touchdowns. His completion percent was 60%. And he led the Bruins to an 8-5 season, which is it's okay, but
Good for a freshman.
Yeah, for a freshman, that's really good. He had won the 2015 Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Year.
I think the bigger question really is, can he handle the ensuing fame that comes with being a top collegiate athlete? Because a couple weeks ago, he posted a picture of himself wearing a hat that had an expletive and it was politically offensive. But I think with the coach Jim Mora, I think he's really strict, doesn't take any nonsense. I think that will help him a lot. But I think he's going to be sophomore sensation.
Yeah, very true. Okay, let's talk about two other teams in the Pac-12, two other very, very good teams. We'll start with UCLA's rival, USC. So they have a new coach, and they have probably the toughest schedule in the whole entire Pac-12, or in college football, really. So, what do you think? How do you think USC is gonna do this year?
Well, first off, 10 or 11 of their opponents that they're facing this year were in a bowl last year, so that just tells you how good some of these teams are that they're playing. And so it's going to be really tough, especially with some positions of need that are going to be they're going to be younger players, because that'll be tough when they play Alabama, who's like the best team in college football. And I think the transition won't be as rocky with new coach Clay Helton, because he's well respected by the players and he's been there for a while. So most of the players know him and they have a relationship with him. So I feel like he will be able to lead this team. I don't know if I'm talking like college football playoff predictions or anything. I don't think we'll get there, but I think a good season is expected from the Trojans.
And what about another top team, Washington? How do you think they're going to do? They have really good players like Myles Gaskin, like Jake Browning. How do you think they're going to do this year too?
I think they're going to do really well this year. I think Chris Peterson is one of the most underappreciated coaches in college football. I think he gets a lot more out of his players than you would think. Jake Browning had a great freshman season last season, and Myles Gaskin, too, had a great season. He had 4 touchdowns in one game at the end of the season. So I think they're going to be a strong contender in the North, especially with Stanford having to replace their starting quarterback.
Yeah, so actually, let's go straight to Stanford. Eddie, what do you think about Stanford and their star player, Christian McCaffrey?
Well, I think Johnny said that they lost Kevin Hogan. He's a great quarterback, but you still have Heisman candidate Christian McCaffrey on that team. Last year, he rushed for 2,019 yards. He had 645 receiving yards and 3,864 all-purpose yards. That broke Barry Sanders' record by 614 yards. That is crazy. And in the Rose Bowl, he had 368 all-purpose yards, 2 touchdowns, and he was the first player ever in Rose Bowl history to have 100 yards rushing and 100 yards receiving. And
that's crazy.
He led the FBS with 76 plays from scrimmage of 10 yards or more and tied Karis Garrett from Tulsa with 29 plays from scrimmage of 20 yards or more. So I think that's not going to make a difference.
So Christian McCaffrey is clearly a star player in college football. Talk about and in the Pac-12 really. So talk about some of these star players in the Pac-12 right now.
Well, I think you can't really sleep on Royce Freeman. He had 1,836 rushing yards. He averaged 141 rush yards a game.
Yeah.
He rushed for 180 yards against Cal and 105 against Stanford.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, and then what do you think about some of the next stars?
I think Jack Jones will do really well, and that's all we have time for today.
That is all we have time for. John is right. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Solomon Koliako, Eddie Holly, John Souza. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Hello, this is Will Kirker with Gabe Silk and Alex Swift. Today we are going to be talking about our predictions for the Pac-12. So, my top 5 probably, starting off, is Stanford.
Same. Yeah, same thing as me.
Yeah. Because they have the
Christian McCaffrey.
rookie who nearly got the Heisman Award, did amazing in the Rose Bowl.
I think he might come second for the Heisman this year.
Second?
I think he might get it this year. I think this is his year.
Yeah. I was expecting him to get it last year. Then I have Oregon.
I got Arizona State.
And?
I had Oregon as well.
But I think that Stanford's going to actually be ranked 7th in the country. And Arizona State is going to be ranked 10th.
Okay.
Because they've been a great team for a pretty long time.
But I think Oregon, because they're just a great overall football team, in my opinion.
I like the coach. The coach is very good. And also, I think Oregon might be, ranked 15th this year. They're not going to – I think last year was a better year for them, but I think this year they're still going to do well. I think they're still going to do better
than most teams in like the Pac-12. I just don't think it's going to be as great of a season for them.
After that, I have Utah.
I got USC and in the country 13th. Just because Utah, after they lost those few games, I still think that they're going to be pretty high in the Pac-12 and maybe in the top 20 in the country, but not really that much because USC, with the loss of Cody Kessler, even with that, I think they're still just a pretty good team. They have been.
Well, I had Arizona State. I think they're just they've been not that dominant in the past years. I just think this is their year to shine. I think they're going to probably be ranked about 11th this year, 10th in the whole FBS. So,
Okay. In fourth, I have UCLA, the campus that we're on right now.
I think people are going to hate me for not giving UCLA enough love, but I have actually Arizona for 15th in the country also.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have USC going in a fourth. I think this year they have like, I think they're just going to do better than UCLA because I think Rosen, he's going to start off
They're going to do
bad.
better than UCLA, I think.
But that's what I'm thinking about is Rosen. He did amazing last year.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he was also his freshman, you know. He
Yeah.
actually might be better this year
A lot
because
of
he had his
pressure.
jitters.
Yeah.
He
But I
had a
don't
lot
know.
of pressure
I don't know.
last year, but I think he's going to have even more pressure this year.
Yeah.
Because
he's-
knowing how good he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, he might have more.
He had a great season last year, so his expectations are high. So he might just like be so nervous that he just breaks down.
Yeah.
Or he's gonna have so much confidence that he just becomes one of the top players.
And fifth and final, I have USC.
I have Utah with 17th in the nation.
I have Utah too, as well. I agree with him. 17th. I think that's a good position.
Now who do you think is gonna be number 1 in the nation?
Well, actually, I think just Alabama.
I got Clemson.
Alabama. And that is all the time we have for today. See you guys next week.
you next
Watson
time.
winning the Heisman.
This is Will Kirker.
I'm Gabe Silk.
And
Alex Swift.
that's all.
Bye.
Hi, I'm Zachary Schwab, and this is
Max Lang.
we are here today on our show, Sports News, on 710 ESPN News Radio, in high resolution sound. We will be talking about today the Pac-12, their chances to win the whole thing, and who we think will win the Pac-12. First of all, Max, who do you think is going to win the Pac-12?
Well, I think it's tie for me between USC and Arizona. I think Arizona, because they won last year, has a very good chance to win again this year. And USC, I think, has a great new quarterback, and they have lots of potential to win.
No way. There's no possible.
Yes, there is so possible way.
Okay.
So you say your candidate, see if they're good.
Okay. I am talking about Stanford because they have Christian McCaffrey, who is like an incredible running back, good kick returner and punt returner, and even he can throw the ball well.
Yeah, there's 11 positions on the football field, Schwab, not just 4.
And my other pick is UCLA.
Are you kidding me? UCLA was like last in the whole nation last year. UCLA is never going to win a championship again.
Yes, they are. They have a
way.
good ranking, good schedule. It's going to be a good first game for them. And Stanford, they're ranked really, really well. Talk about USC being ranked really well.
Yeah, I chose USC because I like the Cavs, and they're red and yellow. And USC's colors are red and yellow too.
So what?
Personally, I think oh, never mind.
So then why?
I think USC is going to win.
I think so.
Yes,
Then,
yes,
so
yes,
then
yes.
why do you pick Arizona too?
Because Arizona won last year.
Okay, fine. I think the two teams that are gonna lose the whole thing are Washington and Colorado.
That is the one thing I finally agree with you on. Washington and Colorado have no chance at all.
Thank you. I think Washington they did terribly last year. I think they're going to be pretty good next year, but this year they just haven't. They need to build up their team, and they're not going to be good. But in Colorado, they just haven't been good lately.
What do you mean next year? Next year is a whole year ahead. You know, you can't fast forward into the future and know all the teams who they're gonna get out of high school and stuff.
Okay. But for my overall pick to win the whole thing is probably Stanford. But to win the whole thing, like the whole college football league, is most likely Clemson. They had just a loss against Alabama, and I think they have a good chance. What's your pick?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Clemson as well. Quarterback Deshaun Watson, number 4, has totally got a great chance of leading Clemson to the title.
Great arm too.
And I think Alabama's gonna fail again, just like that kick against Auburn in the final.
So that will wrap it up for us today, and in this edition of Sports News. Thank you, Max, and
that will wrap it up for our edition in Sports News ESPN LA.
My name is Zachary Schwa.
Max Slimer.
Hello, I'm Dustin Greenwood, and this is Ben Aberbrook, and this is Zachary Alt. And today we have news about UCLA. UCLA wide receiver and son of Snoop Dogg, Hortus Produs, quit the team less than 24 hours ago. He was a top receiver for UCLA.
They're currently unranked and were 3-6 against their conference last year and 7-6 overall. They also had lots of room to improve. In the offseason, they lost Miles Jack, Kenny Clark, and Paul Perkins, the stud running back. Oh, we have a caller.
Where do you see UCLA? How many games do you see them winning?
I could see them winning maybe, 8 at best. You?
I'd say maybe like 5.
Okay. All right.
8 to 9, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Right,
they weren't very good against the
5 to
conference
9.
last year. 3-6 against the conference. And conference games, they're really important. So, yeah, okay.
UCLA's first game is against Texas A&M, one of the best college football teams in the country. It would gain respect for Pac-12 since A&M is hard to beat in the SEC. Their final game is against Cal, which is another great team.
That's all the time we have for today. I'm Dustin Greenwood. This is Ben Aberbrook and Zachary Altz, and thank you for watching.
Hello, everybody. I'm here with.
What's your name? Hello, everybody.
I'm Cameron Hadaway with
Aaron.
And
Tristan.
And today we're at the UCLA campus, and we will be doing a UCLA football preview. First is Aaron with personnel.
Okay. Hi, so I'm first going to talk about Josh Rosen. And Jim Mora, he compares starting sophomore QB Josh Rosen to Peyton Manning in his collegiate years at Tennessee. Maybe that means he'll develop into a player like Peyton Manning at the NFL level. Rich Shermanello says that Josh Rosen was the most coveted player in his freshman year last year. And so that he will be a superstar by his senior year. The defense is also loaded with members such as safety Jaleel Wadood and defensive tackle Eddie Venderdos, who can play in the defensive tackle position, but also at the end, as a defensive end.
Cameron, you're up.
More on the personnel I have. Josh Rosen seems to be the only player that could be a lock for that team's offense. After losing running back Paul Perkins and wide receiver Jordan Payne, they don't look as equipped on the offensive side of the ball. They also lost not very many players on defense. 8 of the 9 defensive starters stayed with the team. They are also getting back Eddie Valderdos after missing all but 1 game with an injury, and Jabril Wadood missing all but 3 games with an injury, which will certainly help the defense with their rush defense that gave up 235 yards to 5 different opponents.
Now I'll be
Tristan.
talking about the schedule that UCLA football will face. They have 2 tough non-conference games in weeks 1 and 3 against Texas A&M and Birmingham Young University, which is also known as BYU. They host number 7 in the coaches poll Stanford on September 24th. They also host their arch rival, number 17, USC, on November 19th. They are lucky enough to not face the top 2 teams in the North Division in number 22 Oregon and number 18 Washington. This will help them be able to maybe get into the top of the South and get into the Pac-12 championship game.
So with that said, who do you guys think will be the breakout player for UCLA?
Yeah, I'm going with just like the superstar, maybe one of the best developed into one of the best quarterbacks in the college right now, probably the best in the Pac-12. Josh Rosen, great arm, just great ball, vision downfield. He's just great potential to be great.
I think maybe their defensive tackle, Eddie Van Der Does,
yeah,
might help them on the defensive end and keep them in games. So who do you guys think will win the Pac-12 this year?
We have.
I'm gonna go with Stanford. I still think that UCLA has their offense around Josh Rosen. It still isn't that good. They lost a lot of players, and Josh Rosen is still becoming a great quarterback. And even though their defense is getting better, they're gonna rebuild. They're gonna rebuild this year and then be really, really good next year.
Cameron?
I agree as well. And to conclude,
Wait, I have a sleeper pick. I think Washington might actually win the Pac-12. They might face I think they'll face UCLA in the Pac-12 championship, but I still think Washington's got a lot of good freshmen.
this is goodbye from Cameron,
Aaron,
and Tristan.
Adios.
Hi, I'm Tommy Jacobs. This is Zachary Zaitchik, and this is Abraham Friedman, and we're at the campus of UCLA talking UCLA basketball with you guys. Zachary?
So I want to start off by saying UCLA did a great job recruiting this year as they got the number 4 and the number 13 recruit in Lonzo Ball and TJ Leaf. Next year, their recruiting is hopefully going to be as well, as Gary Trent Jr. has narrowed down his colleges to 5 choices: Arizona, Duke, Kentucky, Michigan State, and UCLA respectively. UCLA's projected lineup for this year is at their point guard, the number 4 recruit, Lonzo Ball, shooting guard, Bryce Alford, small forward, Isaac Hamilton, power forward, TJ Leaf, and at center, Thomas Welsh. And my projection for UCLA next year is they're going to be number 9 in the country, as they've improved their team this year, and I hope they can stay on track and get to number 9 in the country.
I think that their team, if Bryce Alford takes a big step, then they might have a thing. If Bryce Alford continues on what he started. But Lonzo Ball, he could have a start. He is ready to contribute as soon as he comes in, but I don't think that's enough to get them to the 9th spot in the country. Maybe they clock top 25, but I'll have them just like number 22.
I'm really excited to see the team this year compete for a title. Maybe even, maybe they could even be a top contender. Also, UCLA Bruins football. Josh Rosen is turning into a very developed quarterback. He's in one of his final years at the college, and soon he might even be an NFL prospect. Thoughts?
Well, I feel like Josh Rosen had a pretty good year last year, and he could go to the draft this year. We'll see how he does. If he does well, he might go to the draft, but I feel like it would be a smarter idea for him to stay and just get into it, get ready for the NFL, and then as soon as he's developed and ready, go to the NFL, and he'll get a high draft pick.
Well, in my opinion, Josh Rosen would have been the number 1 pick last year. If he had gone to the draft, if freshmen were allowed to go to the draft, he would have been the number 1 pick last year. This year, if he goes to the draft, no doubt, because he's just so talented that, he was so good in his freshman year. He acted like a junior. He played like a junior. So at this point in his sophomore year,
if he decides to go pro, then I think he's going to be top 3 pick no matter what. Unless he has a meltdown season.
And finally, I would like to give a big shout out to all the UCLA students in Rio this year. It's just incredible how many have decided to go and represent our nation against all the other countries in the world. From all of us here at UCLA and Sports Broadcasting Camp, thank you and good night. I'm Tommy Jacobs with Abraham Friedman and Zachary Zaitchik. Thank you and good night.
Hi guys, I'm Sam Walker alongside Ari Wall, and today we will be giving you a look inside the UCLA Bruins' upcoming football season. The Bruins were ranked number 24 in the preseason coaching poll, and they open versus Texas A&M September the 3rd. They have made some changes this offseason. Some of them include a new offensive coordinator, Kennedy Palomalu. He will be taking over the offense led by quarterback Josh Rosen, who's returned for his sophomore year after a successful freshman year in which he threw for over 3,700 yards. The Bruins have a tough schedule with many tough tests to test this year. Some of their biggest games include the September 24th date against Stanford. That's the Pac-12 opener, and it will be a home game for the Bruins. Stanford is ranked number 7 in the preseason coaches poll, the highest for any Pac-12 team. Some other tough games include an October 1st matchup versus Arizona. Arizona always has a great squad, and it will be a tough matchup for the Bruins. And then, of course, there's the annual rivalry matchup. This one takes place on November the 19th, and it will be against the number 17 ranked USC Trojans. This is also a home game for the Bruins, and it will take place in Pasadena, so the Bruins should like to have some home field advantage there. And another big change, the Bruins moved senior quarterback Ismail Adams to the wide receiver position to add some depth and to create a target for Rosen. So this should definitely help the offense there. All right, and some more changes they made in the offseason where they were able to sign some really good recruits. And here to talk to you about that is Ari Wall.
Yeah, like you said, I'm very excited for that USC-UCLA matchup. Big rivalry always happens, so excited to watch that every year. So UCLA did get some good recruits and also lost a few players. They lost not maybe the star of the team, but an important player, I guess you could say, Snoop Dogg's son, which played on UCLA. He's now no longer on the team, and he's quit the team. And they have gotten some good players, though. They got cornerback, 3-star cornerback Jalen Shaw, which should definitely help their secondary, which has now become a strong suit for UCLA. And they also got 4-star linebacker Anthony Hines to help with zone coverage possibly and blitzing. Very good player there. And they also lost another player. He goes to Duke. Jack Sears, who used to play for the UCLA Bruins, now goes over and plays for Duke on that football team over there. So not great for them, but they did get some very good players that should help them there, and hopefully they don't have any injuries, because injuries is another thing. Made them bad last year. They only went 8-5 due to a lot of injuries from players.
That's right, definitely. You want to avoid the injuries as much as you can. And so, but all in all, everything looks pretty good for the Bruins. They look to build upon last year, and at the end of the day, it'll come down to the sophomore Rosen. If he's able to stay healthy and have a good year, things will look pretty bright for the Bruins in this upcoming year. So, alongside Ari Wall, I'm Sam Walker. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.
Hello everyone, I am live here at UCLA with my two friends, Matt and Akko, and Jonathan Brookham, my brother. Anyway, so we came here to talk about the UCLA basketball season. We were wondering how that's going to open up, Madden.
Well, UCLA has a great returning player in Bryce Alford, and they have Aaron Holiday and Isaac Hamilton returning. They each were the 3 stars of last year's team. The Bruins this year are going up against a tough Pac-12 with improved squads at Arizona and Stanford. Their non-conference schedule opens up against UC Riverside and features some tough opponents such as Kentucky and Ohio State. Also, they will be playing a game in Ann Arbor against Michigan.
All right, thanks for that. So now we're going to talk a little bit more back about what happened in UCLA history. We heard about some good things, isn't that right, Jonathan?
Yeah, there was the legendary John Wooden, and there then is also this UCLA legendary team that has 11 national titles, 31 conference titles, 4 conference tournament titles, and 11 undefeated conference seasons. That is a very strong and solid team.
That's a pretty strong UCLA team. So we've had a nice past, and we're hoping it's going to get better.
Yeah, UCLA will play their Pac-12 rival USC numerous times this season. While UCLA did better than USC last year, USC has an improved squad. UCLA's coach, the father of Bryce Alford, has said that UCLA's basketball squad has to be better this year or else they will be one of the worst in the Pac-12. If UCLA doesn't improve their basketball, UCLA basketball will have no point in playing.
You're right. They really have to catch up on that. I mean, they have a good past. They want to make their future better other generations.
What are you thinking about the NCAA tournament this year? Do you think UCLA will be a team like 2 years ago where they barely made it in and became a miracle, or do you think this year they have a strong chance at making the NCAA tournament and being a high seed?
Well, all we can say is let's just see. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. Like you said, we got a couple of new players. We don't know how this is going to work.
I think the UCLA is gonna barely make it probably 15th seed. I don't know why I'm saying this, but UCLA can get better, and sadly I think they would be eliminated in the first round. But I think they'll put up a nice fight in the season. Probably only a few losses, not that many, but there are tons of better teams out there.
I totally agree with you. Anyways, so long, and hope to see you there. Once again, I'm alongside my 2 crew members, Matt Inako and Jonathan Brookham. Once again, good night.
What's your name?
Josh.
All right, welcome everybody to our UCLA football preview for 2016. I'm Sadie Bovitz alongside Jack Brooks and Russell Tabor. We're going to start out with the sophomore quarterback, Josh Rosen. He did great as a freshman last year, and he looks to be even better than he was last year. Jack, your thoughts on his second season?
I really think the predictions are going to be correct. I really think he can improve. He can be a great player this year, and he can lead UCLA to a bunch of great wins.
So, experience plays a factor, correct?
Yes, I really think it does. And like I said, he will really be good this season to my predicament.
All right. So Miles Jack and Paul Perkins, the 2 stars of the 2015 season, have both left UCLA, so UCLA has a lot of pressure to continue to compete this year. However, Miles Jack has a potential replacement. He is freshman Mickey Juarez. Russell, your thoughts on this replacement?
I mean, yeah, they did lose Miles Jack, but Mickey Juarez, by Athlon Sports, they said that he would be ranked one of the top freshmen in the Pac-12. And the Pac-12 is one of the best conferences in college football.
That's a very good point. Thank you. All right. Now we're going to go to you, Jack. Last year, UCLA went, as many fans might recall, the UCLA went 8-5 and lost to Nebraska in the Foster Farmers Bowl, 29-37. Athlon Sports predicts that UCLA will be ranked number 14 in the country, win the Pac-12 South, go 9-4, and lose the Pac-12 championship to Washington. Jack, what do you think of these predictions?
Well, truthfully, I think the prediction to go 9-4 is pretty accurate. In my opinion, I don't think they're going to be exactly 9-4. I think they're going to be like 10-3, maybe like 7 or like last season, he's in 8-4, like a few games off, but not exactly 9.
So it's nearly the most. It's near your opinion.
Yes, I
Okay.
think it's max 10-3.
All right, so we're gonna, of course, UCLA and USC is one of the biggest college rivalries in the country. Of course, they will play each other on November 19th at the Rose Bowl. Russell, what is your pick for this game?
Well, yeah, UCLA was picked to be ahead of USC, but I feel like that USC is just physically better than UCLA.
They are playing at the Rose Bowl. Is that a home field advantage for UCLA? And what will
It's
key
not
in a
that
win?
much of a home field advantage because USC is closer to the Rose Bowl than UCLA. So I feel like that USC is gonna have a home field advantage.
That is a very interesting observation, and we'll see what happens when they play each other. UCLA football fans rejoice. UCLA will open against Texas A&M in Texas on September 3rd, 2016. I'm Sammy Bovitz signing off from this special UCLA football preview. That's Russell Tabor, that's Jack Brooks. I'm Sammy Bovitz. Goodbye and good luck to UCLA.
Hi, welcome to ESPN News. I'm Alex Newman along with my partners Logan and Jared, and today we are going to be discussing the UCLA basketball.
Yeah, we're going to start off with bracket predictions. For my bracket prediction, I have UCLA losing in the first round against Western team Oregon, maybe. I don't think their roster is in depth enough. I mean, specifically the big man Thomas Welsh. I think UCLA definitely gave him a backup in TJ Leaf, a new recruit. That is my bracket prediction.
Okay, thank you, Jared. However, I respectfully disagree with you due to the fact that that even though they are new recruits, they are very new. And so I think that they will not make it to the bracket. However, all these players, they have a bright future ahead of them. And hopefully I think that the team does have a bright future ahead of them. I just don't think they'll be good this year. And now to Logan.
Thank you, Alex. But I politely disagree with both of you. I think they will be facing the Oregon Ducks, and it's going to be a tight squeeze going into the playoffs. But they're going to manage it. They're going to get into the bracket, and they're going to probably be facing their rivals, USC, and it's going to be a tight game. But USC turns out to be the true winners.
Okay, thank you, Logan. Now we are going to talk about how they are going to be facing Michigan and Tennessee on December 3rd and 10th. Now, I think that those are their two toughest games. What would you say?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Tennessee, that's a great basketball team. I mean, you saw in the draft they had Josh Richardson last year, who's emerged as one of the Heat's best players. That's definitely going to be a tough game for them, and hopefully they can prevail. And Michigan, that's a great basketball program, and I think they could pull out the win against both of them.
Thank you, Jared. And I would also have to, I would have to slightly disagree with you. Again, they are pretty new players. I think that they will slide through one of them, and I think that they will lose to the other. And because I feel like that they're just a very unpredictable team. That they'll be like, they'll have some games where they play really good and some games where they play awful. And well, that's why I think they won't make it to the bracket, because they'll be like very slip and slide record, but I do think that they'll be slip and slide. For both of those games, I think they'll win one of them and they'll lose one of them. With the new recruits, you never know. Now to you, Logan.
Thank you, Alex, but I do agree with Jared, and because I do think that they will do good in my mind, that they will do very well, and they're gonna pull it out. In the end, they're going to win against these two teams. They're going to destroy them.
Okay, well, thank you, Logan, for your thoughts. And, well, that's all the time we have today on ESPN. But this has been ESPN. And my name is Alex Newman.
Jared Blankenship.
Logan Langevin.
And that's it, folks.
Hi, I'm Will Bauma, joined by Max Putterman and Jacob Hahn, and today we'll be talking about the UCLA football 2016-2017 football predictions. In Game 1, they played Texas A&M.
I think it's going to be a close loss.
Me too. I think Texas A&M is going to pull this one off.
Yeah, I hate to disagree with you guys, but I think that it's
we're gonna pull it off. I think that UCLA is gonna get a win out of this.
In game 2, they'll play University of Nevada, Las Vegas.
It's going to be a real easy win.
UCLA is going to destroy them.
Yep, agreed. It's a win.
Game 3, BYU.
I think they're going to win, but it's going to be closer than people think.
Agreed. I think they're going to win. It's going to be a pretty close game.
I think UCLA is gonna lose. I think that BYU is gonna have the upper hand.
Game 4, Stanford.
They're going to lose. I don't think it's going to be all that close.
I think they can beat Stanford in a super, super close game.
I think that they're gonna lose to Stanford. It's gonna be close though, that's for sure.
Game 5, Arizona.
I think they'll win, but it's going to be tight, maybe OT.
I think they can beat Arizona in a pretty decent game.
Yeah, they'll probably beat Arizona. It seems like that.
In game 6, ASU.
I think it might be a bit of an upset. I think they're going to lose.
I'm going to agree with you. I think Arizona State can pull this one off.
I think that it's going to be. I think UCLA's got to win out of this one.
Now Washington State.
Pretty easy win, but maybe upset chance here.
Absolute domination for UCLA.
I'm seeing an upset from Washington State. I think UCLA is going to lose this one.
Game 8, Utah.
I think it's going to be a win for UCLA. Might be the game of the season.
I agree, game of the season, but I think UCLA cannot beat them.
Yeah, I agree with Will. I think that this is gonna. Oh wait, no, I disagree with you guys. Actually, it's a loss.
Colorado.
Oh, geez, this might be the easiest game of the season. They're going to crush them.
Absolutely agree.
I think it's going to be a dominant performance from UCLA.
USC.
Actually, Oregon State. I think they're going to beat Oregon State. Maybe close, but not by a lot.
I think they can beat Oregon State in a close game.
You know, the Beavers, they're not a very good team, so it's going to be a win for UCLA.
USC.
It's going to be a tight rivalry game, but they're going to win.
USC by 2 touchdowns.
I think that UCLA's got this one in the books.
Cal.
I think they'll win. Cal's not that good.
Cal lost their quarterback, UCLA.
UCLA for the win, for sure.
And now, his projection was 9-3. Mine was 8-4. His was 8-4. His team makes it to the Pac-12 championship, and here's his prediction.
I think they're going to lose to Stanford in the Pac-12 championship. Christian McCaffrey is going to be the difference maker.
All right, thank you for tuning in to the UCLA Football Talk Show. Join us tomorrow for another episode. I'm Will, this is Max, and this is Jacob.
Welcome to the show today. I'm Patrick Winograd, this is Carter Lawrence, and today we'll be talking about some major football news for UCLA.
So, it was a big leave that Miles Jack left the UCLA football team.
Definitely, and as you saw, he went in the middle of the first round for the draft, and he will be a big loss on defense as their defense already wasn't that great last year with him being hurt and all. Also, in the draft, Jim Mora believed that if Josh Rosen was eligible to enter the 2016 draft, he thought that he would have been the top pick, and then a couple days later warned him about not turning into the next Johnny Manziel. Pretty interesting, right?
Yes, it sure is. Because you know how Johnny Manziel went. Didn't have too good of a start against Cleveland. Against Cincinnati. But he was pretty good in college. So, we'll see. And also, Mora signed a 2-year contract with UCLA for his coaching.
Big extension for him. Even though it's not that long of a tenure, he will still be the coach for a couple more years. Also, Cordell Brodus, Snoop Dogg's son, said before this year, he said that he was quitting football and their program. Now, he a couple months ago said that he was going to come back, and just yesterday, now he says that he will not play football, and Jim Mora has confirmed that by saying that he will go on and move on to other passions in life. What do you think about that? That Snoop Dogg's son just flaked out.
Well,
it's his decision. I mean, we don't know what he exactly had in mind, why, if it was a risk or something, but it could have been for a conscious reason, and maybe he wanted to just try something new.
Also, UCLA coming in as number 24 in the preseason poll, but they're going against some tough teams in Stanford and USC and Washington, all being ranked in the preseason polls, including, and they will not play Washington in the regular season, but they will play Stanford and their normal rivalry game against USC, and also games against many teams that just missed the rankings, including Texas A&M and Washington State. Looks like they're going to have a tough schedule, and I think that there are only 2 guaranteed wins, but I still think that they will go 9-3, losing to Utah, Stanford, and Texas A&M. What about you?
I think they're having a pretty good year, and I think they might go like having a winning record, like 9-3, as you mentioned, because they're having some pretty tight matches, because it's going to be really competitive out there, but we'll see what happens.
And that's all the time we have for today. We'll see you again later for more news. I'm Patrick Winograd, and this is Carter Lawrence, and that's all for today.
Hi, this is the Chase Adam Reed Show. I'm Adam, this is Reed, and this is Chase. Today we will be discussing our Pac-12 predictions and how this season will end up for each team.
For football.
So now we'll start with our 12th seed, and here's Reed.
Well, for our 12th spot, we have Oregon going 3-9. Oregon State.
At 11, we have Colorado going 4-8.
And at 10, we have Washington State going 5-7.
We have ASU going 5-7.
At 8, we have Cal going 6-6.
And at 7, we have the Utah Utes going 7-5.
At 6, we have Arizona going 7-5 as well.
So now we'll talk about the top 5 teams and why we think they will have the most success this year in the Pac-12 for football. So let's start with number 5, Washington University. Washington is a well-balanced team. They have a solid offense, have a solid defense, but for them to really take it to the next level this year, one or the other has to really step up. And I think it will be the defense. They have a really good defense, including one of the top safeties in the country in the name of Budda Baker.
And at number 4, we have USC. USC is in the shadows of Cody Kessler, one of their top quarterbacks ever from USC. But they are going to be dangerous this year. From their top running back, Ronald Jones III, is a force to be reckoned with. And although they might not be the top team this year, they're going to be a dangerous team.
Okay, at number 3, we have the UCLA Bruins, and I think they're going to go 9-3. The Bruins are destined to have a great season. As Josh Rosen enters his sophomore season, he came off a decent season, started off well, but then as the season progressed, he kind of got a little shaky, wasn't the same player as he was. He is one of the best pocket passers in the FBS, and he really needs to step up and lead this team. And if he does, this team is definitely going to get a bowl game, and they have a chance at making the playoffs. They just really have to work together as a team and be healthy and, be their old selves.
All right, at 2, we have Oregon going 10-2. Oregon is has a powerhouse offense, including a top 5 running back in Royce Freeman and a great young wideout in Darren Carrington. Expect a lot from this team.
And at number 1, going 11-1, is the Stanford Cardinal. The Stanford Cardinal has a lot of young talent, including their top running back, Christian McCaffrey. And the Stanford Cardinal is definitely going to be dangerous this year. Maybe a top, definitely for a top playoff spot, and may even go to the championship this year. But we can't be positive about that.
Thank you for tuning in and watching our Pac-12 predictions. Let us know what you guys think. This is Reed, Chase, and I'm Adam. Thank you. Have a great night.